Yeah, that's all. That's all, folks. Streams are going away. Streams are going away. Just letting you know. Originally, streams started out as a way that I could interact with viewers, or at least that was the plan. Because YouTube doesn't really, it allows for interactivity, but it's delayed. It's all through the comment sections, and so it's basically like doing it in a forum, which is fine. But Twitch and live streaming the games was supposed to be like, oh, we can. I think the problem is I don't do much other content right now, and everything is the streams. And because everything is the streams, and I'm not feeling too into them, and no one's coming out, it hasn't really. It's not worth it. Honestly, it's just not worth it. It's not worth streaming. I don't want anyone to feel bad. I know there are some people that do come out, and there are people like when I go on these rants that will come into the comment section of the video and be like, "Ah, I feel bad for missing this stream." Don't feel bad. It's not that. It's not you. It's disappointment in myself for being on YouTube for 5 years and not having figured out how to do any of this. And maybe it's 4 years. Who cares? Like, honestly, it doesn't matter. That's the thing. Like, don't take any of this stuff too seriously. I say to myself, because none of this is anything that deserves to be taken too seriously. Like, games are great, but games are supposed to be escapes. Entertainment in general is escaping from the real world. I've been thinking about like Game of Thrones, and so many fucking people are watching Game of Thrones, and I have liked that show in the past, but it's just like, oh my god, there's so many. I have a hard time disconnecting like my feelings on entertainment things, which like I do entertainment stuff to distract myself from how just fucking boring normal life is. And so I approach it from that angle. And when I see everybody like really into the show, I view it that way, and I'm like, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just your life's bad or boring. Like, I think we just have all these like hunter instincts or just instincts to move. And if you work a fucking office job or just some bullshit thing where you're just sitting there doing the same repetitive stuff all day long, granted, you need to do that to pay the bills, but oh my god, it just fucking destroys you. And there's that primitive piece of you that just fucking wants to fly, just wants to go and jump out the window. Not jump out the window. No. Well, maybe jump out the window. Some people in office positions feel like jumping out windows. I know I've been there. The only problem is my office space is only like 2 floors, and most I would probably break a leg. So the point is, we've got all these primitive instincts, and entertainment is our way of fulfilling that mental side that we no longer are able to do unless you're like a crazy fucking parkour person, or you go in one of those squirrel suits and you're diving through the air like a goddamn maniac, or you skydiving. I think like the best part about skydiving would be like, oh, you could just it's really not that big a deal if the parachute goes out, because chances are it's going to be a really quick thing, and you're going to get to experience something no one else has experienced because no one lives doing it. But you get to experience like falling all the way to Earth, achieving like the maximum velocity possible, and then it's just fucking over. I don't know where I was going with that. The point is primitive urges. And so I see a lot of this entertainment stuff as like as that. It is an attempt to fulfill all of the primitive urges that we can no longer fulfill anymore, because now you go to a store, they've killed like 90,000 chickens, and they've got them all neatly packaged and decontaminated usually decontaminated on the shelves, and then you buy that chicken and you just like you flip a button and the fucking it cooks the chicken, and you don't have to do anything really. Like all you have to do is dedicate time, so you're just putting time in there, but you don't have to do any of those primitive things. And so your body is just like, hey, I've got all this stuff and all this brain power that's for doing all this junk, and you just can't fucking do any of it, so you just go crazy. And that's society today. That's like, I feel like almost everyone's just gone crazy and is sad now. Like depression levels, it's crazy too. It's like in the US, depression levels are crazy high, like insanely high in comparison to a lot of places in the world. And I think a big part of it is just fucking boredom. Like US life, for the most part, heavy emphasis on the most part, because there's lots of shit that goes on in the US too. But US life is just fucking simple. Like things are laid out for us pretty easily, where you can exist and not have to like use your body much. That's why we've got a lot of obesity too. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's just like you are free in this country to do that. But the toll it takes on the mental side of things, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. Well, it can't be a good thing, but it's certainly, I don't know if it's bad or not. It's kind of like maybe we're just evolving as a species into this other thing where like all of that primitive shit is just not going to be necessary. The brain's going to figure out how to get the chemicals to work efficiently without having to do all the primitive stuff, and isn't going to like just be in a state of confusion all the time. But I don't know if we'll get to that state anytime soon, because no one knows what the fuck is going on in general. Well, life in general is kind of just like this. I was watching a video today. I watched Vsauce sometimes, and he has like this video on Earth and how big it is and how far away you have to be to like see it in full and whatnot. And that shit's crazy. He talks about like the crust of the Earth is just this tiny little fucking thing, and then the whole inside is just like just lava and death, and there's probably like tardigrades and shit living in there too, but lava's not really living. You can count anything as living. What's our definition of life? What am I saying anymore? I'm gonna end the stream.